Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Game Changing Impact Program webinar series. My name is Ket McConnell. I'm from Enterprise Lab, and thank you for all making it here on time. This webinar is going to be around the core of creativity and innovation, and it's part of the follow-up to your coaching that's going to be taking place. So we've got quite a packed agenda to run through. If this works, there we go. So I just want to first announce that obviously the Game Changing Impact Program is brought to you by the Energy Career Centre. We've got Grace from the Career Centre that's going to come up very, very shortly. It's all been powered by the GC Index, and Enterprise Lab are your hosts and supporters for the whole coaching program that you are undertaking. So today we're going to just go through a very quick welcome for myself. I'm going to pass it over to Grace very, very shortly, who's going to give a little bit more insight into the Career Centre. We're then going to move over to Nathan, and Nathan's going to really start giving you some key information around how you make your best impact in the process of creativity and innovation. Following this, we were going to have an industry interview, but unfortunately our industry partners couldn't make it last minute, but that's what happens. So I've created a little bit of a short presentation and insight about creativity and innovation within the energy industry. And then we're going to wrap up the whole session talking about what's happening next within your coaching program, and then any Q&A. Remember, guys, if you do have any questions, you have the raise your hand facility within the Zoom function, or you can type your questions into the chat function and I'll pick them up from there. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Grace. Grace is from the Energy Career Centre. Grace, are you there? Hi, Grace. You may need to unmute yourself, Grace.
I have.
Hello.
Okay, yes, good. Hello, welcome. Well, I'm Grace. I am the coordinator of the Career Centre, and most of you have probably seen my name before from all of the emails I have been sending. I work together with Marloes Wickinkruid, and so together we are forming the Energy Career Centre team. And a little background, within the Career Centre, we wanted to help develop people who have great ideas, great solutions for the energy market. Therefore, we attract and groom talent to further extend and help grow our energy network. We basically want to lead the way with creating a better world, having a sustainable future. And in 2017, we started working together with the GC Index because we basically share their vision very strongly. Not everybody is a game changer, but everybody can make a game-changing impact. And we see it as our mission to help develop you also on a personal level, and to find out how you can make a game-changing impact in an organization. And so we offer several services. Not sure if I can move to the next. Oh, great, thank you. Such as the Game Changing Impact Program, of course. But we also offer CV checks, cover letter checks, interview training, and this information can also be found within the Career Centre group in the InnoEnergy community. If you have not joined this group, I would like to ask you to do so, preferably even today. And on the InnoEnergy community page, you will also find our job boards where we provide internships, part-time jobs, entry-level positions. And so with this first webinar, we would like to focus on the learning objective, creativity and innovation. And yes, great, thank you again. So within InnoEnergy, the goal is simple. We want to achieve a sustainable future for Europe. And we are doing this by encouraging innovation. We think innovation, creativity and innovation are the driving force for InnoEnergy. So I want to wish you good luck with this first webinar, and I hope you'll enjoy it. So give the floor back to Nathan, I guess.
Well, thank you, Grace. It's Ken, not Nathan. Yeah, Nathan's going to come up soon. And guys, it's just to re-emphasize that this whole program is being brought to you by the InnoEnergy Career Centre, and there are so many different faculties, features, and things that they have. Really do take up the opportunity to go through the community platform, look up on things like CV checks. All these kind of things are going to be really, really important. And as you go through the process of the InnoEnergy program itself, you will actually understand that all of these kind of support functions are going to be really, really vital for you. So above and beyond all of that, there's an element of the game-changing impact challenges, which I'm sure Grace over time will be giving more information on as well, something that we work together on effectively as well. And we'll be bringing more and more communications to you on a regular basis, both from the Career Centre and through Enterprise Lab. So always keep a check of your email boxes. And one last thing before we go over to Nathan, please make sure you do time to time periodically check your junk or spam box, because sometimes some of the emails fall into there as well. Any questions that you have, there is an email address directed to the Career Centre, which we'll provide to you, and you all have our contact email details in the student handbooks that you have already. So let's move on. We've got the introduction from the Career Centre, and I'd like to now introduce Nathan, who's going to be talking to you more about the InnoEnergy Game Changing Impact Programme, but more importantly, how you best make that impact in the process of creativity and innovation. Nathan, are you there?
I'm here. Thank you, guys. It's nice to put the video on as well, Grace, so everyone can put a face to all of those emails. Yeah. So good. So hi, I'm Nathan, Chief Polisher at the GC Index. As Grace said, we've been working now with InnoEnergy since 2017 to bring this program to you guys. Not to go too much into the GC Index. You can find as much as you need to know at the gcindex.com, which is our website. But in short, a fundamental principle is that everyone in the world can make an impact, whether you are a Fortune or global CEO or a child in a developing country. You have an impact to make, a positive impact to make in your world and in the world. And that is the fundamental principles behind the GC Index framework. Currently in hundreds of organizations around the world, ranging from schools to big corporations, startups, everything in between. You can see that. Currently in 31 countries around the world and growing. So what do we mean by making an impact in creativity and innovation? So it's a fundamental part of this program that runs alongside your studies. Okay, you may have done some sort of test or something before, which may have been personality-based, it may have been skills-based. We are very much focused on impact, okay? The impact you can make. Everything else that you may have done is important. Is actually what you're going to do, what you're going to bring to an employer, to your startup, what you're going to bring to, to your first job, your teams throughout your course. That's how you're going to impact that, So as Ketan has mentioned, we sit the program in 5 key learning objectives. Okay, there are 5 key learning objectives where you would have seen through your coaching sessions that are underpinned here. So creativity, innovation, engaging and influencing, getting things done, teamwork and leadership, and managing your career. So you'll see that the program has been structured very concretely around these learning objectives, and you'll see that we want to make sure that you find that job and maximize the impact of that job. So you'll see that we're quite heavily focused on managing your career more when you come and do your internships, and then when you're actually thinking about leaving your studies into the world of work. Okay, so you'll see that. So you'll see you've got extra coaching session around managing your career. Today, we're starting off with creativity and innovation. All right, that's what we're here to talk about. And as Grace sort of mentioned, when we first started this program, the exam question was, we need to put game changers into the world of energy. That's what we need to do. And to be fair, we push back here at the GCIP a little bit with InnoEnergy and say, well, that's fine, but it's not very realistic, actually. Okay, all right. It's a sense that, just to go and find 250 Steve Jobs or whoever we think about as these game changers, put them in the energy industry, then everything else will be okay. It's not realistic, okay, and not particularly helpful when we're looking at developing talent to make an impact. And so you will see our studies. So there are studies out there that we've done. There's the DNA of a game changer, the DNA of a game-changing team. Our studies, which are the precursor to the GC Index today. Read those, and that's the exploration that we've gone through on this journey. So yeah, when you think of game changers or people who have made a game, you'll have your own people that you think of. There are some people on here. I mean, there's a few. But actually, you know, that's not realistic. And what it's actually done, as you'll see through the next slide, is we have this myth of you know, the myth of the hero innovator, all right, or the myth of the hero creator. You know, we're going to get these people and then everything's going to be all right. You know, we're going to change the world with these few people. Life is not like that. All right. Okay. So what you will see through the GCIP, and you've got your profiles, is yes, there will be those individuals that we call the word game changer who do have the propensity to bring original ideas, original creativity, ideas that could just, you know, do things very, very differently. And that's great. We need those. But in reality, it's more than just a good idea. And in fact, just a new creative idea means nothing, unless you can make sense of it. People understand it. It makes business sense, right? But then you take that a step further. A new idea that is elegant and lovely and new and novel and means nothing unless we get on and do something about it and make it happen, right? And then we need to make it the best that it can be, and we've all got to work together with all this impact to actually drive transformational change, okay? So that is the fundamental bit. We need all of these component parts. So if you like sport, we can't just have a team of 11 strikers, It doesn't work that way. The approach of winning is the same as the approach of transformational change. If you're a sports team, you need people to make an impact in very different ways, okay? And that's where we're here to talk about. So you would have seen your profile, you would have got your GC Index profile, and you will see that you're not one or the other, all right? You will see that people score very differently, and a high score in your profile doesn't mean you're necessarily good at it, okay? And a low score doesn't mean you're necessarily bad at it, all right? Okay, what we're measuring is proclivity, inclination to make an impact, and therefore what we have a very simple equation is proclivity. I like doing this, it's how I want to make my impact. I need the skill sets to maximize that impact. You know, that's when I start making my impact. Okay, so what you're seeing here is just one person's profile. You might recognize it if you're on the call. We're not saying who it is. Then you'll see a collection of people's profiles on your program, and then actually this is the last one is a combined profile of the GC Index, the one that's not come through on the screen. Yeah, of actually your program. Yeah, of actually one of your programs. I'm not saying again which one it is. But what you will see is, therefore, that, you know, there are people that want to make impact in different ways, okay? So what we're not saying here, okay, what we're not saying here is that you need to be creative. We're not going to go and develop people to be creative. That's a real hard ask. What we're going to do is show people how they make the best contribution they can to the process of creativity and innovation. Let me just repeat that again. We're not trying to make you creative. We're not going to teach you necessarily to be innovative. We're going to teach you how to contribute and maximize your impact to the process of innovation, okay, or to the process of creativity, because creativity is not just having new ideas. I'm going to use another sporting analogy. I like sport. I like football, okay? It's a simple sport. You know, put ball in goal, stop other team putting ball in goal. If you look at a bunch of kids playing football and soccer, and they want to have a winning culture and focus on winning, yeah, the only way, therefore, if they're only told that scoring goals is how they win, everyone's going to want to score goals. Everyone's going to judge themselves on scoring goals, yeah, and everyone thinks they're rubbish if they don't score goals, okay? Whereas the same with creativity, okay? Yeah, an idea is great, but how do we make it a reality? We need everyone. So when you get your GC Index profile, this is my profile, by the way, just in case you're wondering, that's why I'm called the chief polisher. You will get your profile, and there's a section in there around creativity and innovation. Read it, understand it, think about what it means, okay? And then you've also had your impact awareness tool, which you would have taken. And I just think I pulled out the creativity and innovation section of that, Ketan. So you would have, this is Grace. Hi, sorry, Grace, I didn't, but what you've also got there is, so the impact awareness profile isn't there to test you, okay? Isn't there to catch you out. It's just there to try and consolidate in your mind, in your own mind, what do I need? What help do I need? What's important to me? Yeah, and so you take that and take this into your coaching session as a framework, yeah, to help you develop the things that you need to develop. All right. So moving on, Ketan. Yeah. So I wanted to sort of just put this into context with a real example. I've taken it out of the energy sector. Okay. And we've used the company Nike. Hopefully some of you have heard of Nike. Yeah. Now, their issue was around the fact that they had this maxim. It's their number one maxim. It's been their maxim for 15 years or so. And it's in their nature to innovate. So what were they always doing? Well, you work for Nike, go and be innovative. Well, some people are going, what? Go and be innovative? Yeah, go and be innovative. Thursday afternoon, go and be innovative. Well, I don't know. So, but with this language and framework, they were able to overlay that maxim to show how everybody contributes to the process of innovation. So yes, there will be those people that think things that nobody else thinks, but then we go and build things that nobody else builds, improve things that already exist, yeah? And envision those possibilities and accelerate them through relationships. So let's take that down a little bit. You know, if I am a big strategist, say, for example, not strong on game changer, how do I impact that process of creativity? Well, I can impact it negatively by going, well, no, yeah, great idea, but it doesn't fit into this model. It never happened. I've analysed all the data. Yeah, it's not going to work. Kill the idea. Kill the creativity quite quickly. Yeah.
Actually, can I just come in very quickly, Nathan? We had a question emailed to us before the webinar itself. Actually, one of the students has outlined that they're a very large implementer in their profile, and really what they wanted to really understand is how would they impact the process of creativity and innovation if they're such a big implementer. I mean, you know, profiles, we see them and you think, right, okay, game changers and polishers tend to be more on that inventive and innovative side, but what's your take on this? What advice would you give to someone perhaps that has a big or a large implementer and understanding how they're impacting the process?
Yeah, well. Firstly, I don't think any decent idea will ever become reality without implementers. So
that's true.
So firstly, that's good. And so yeah, so I'll take the implementer as an example then. So implementers are the powerhouses of industry, of organizations, of teams. Okay, they actually get stuff done. Yeah. Okay. Whereas you'll see, I mean, we see some of this in when we did the Utility Week, Ketan, where you've got very sort of strategist, game changer teams, and they're exploring all these wonderful ideas, and you know the implementers sort of sitting there tapping the table or going, can we actually get on with some stuff now, rather than just thinking about all this wonderful stuff? You know, and so I mean, a stark example could be an implementer. So an implementer could positively impact creativity. Yeah, if sort of all these ideas and the brainstorming and got these good ideas, an implementer could go, because they're very pragmatic. Yeah, they want to see tangible outputs. They could go, oh no, we've done this before. That's not going to work. We looked at that in 2015. Oh, no way, not going to work. Yeah, kills creativity. Yeah. But if you've got, say, a lot of ideas fizzing around with, people maybe more game change focused, that implementer could sit there, be patient, firstly, it's a nice skill, listen, not be too impatient, and go, I see that idea, and this is how it could actually work in practice. Actually, we could prototype it that way, and that would get us to a first stage of prototype, and actually we can get that done in a couple of weeks, and just bring some urgency to that action. Does that make sense, in the sense that it's not just, I feel a bit stupid because I haven't got any great ideas, and sit in the room or walk away. It's right, okay, I get that idea, it's a bit wacky and out there, but this is how it could work in practice.
Okay. Yep.
And the skills that you develop then as an implementer is those communication skills, patience, openness to other people's opinions and ideas. Just, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, if it ain't broke, then could it be a bit better? Yeah, that's what
I get that for sure. What's interesting, one of the things about the proclivity of a high game changer, for example, is that they see other things that other people don't see. You mention it here as a part of the maxim: think something nobody else thinks. Yeah. But one of the most frustrating things or challenging things high game changers have is articulating or getting other people on the page. And do you feel that an implementer, or as much as a strategist, could really help a game changer get their idea out there?
Oh, I mean, exactly, absolutely that. I mean, we've seen some games, and just because you're a strong game changer doesn't mean they have real big challenges. I mean, we've seen a number of sort of big game, sort of high scoring game changers. The idea's in their head, but they just cannot communicate it. They can see it, they can taste it, they can touch it, but actually making it so everyone else can understand it is really quite frustrating for them, and that's quite difficult. And then they get frustrated that they think everyone's stupid, or they should see what they see. And it's those. You're absolutely right. It's the strategists, the playmakers, the implementers that help bring that idea out into that everyone can understand it, and everyone can. And game changers clash. I mean, we've seen 3 or 4 teams of 3 or 4 strong game changers together. Clash around purity of idea. They're right. They have great fun about exploring ideas, but they can also clash as well around their ideas. And so it is that playmaker to help sort of smooth that through. It's the strategist to make it clear. It's the polishers that then get that idea, run with it, and make it better and better and better. Yes.
It's fascinating because again, I mean, I've had the pleasure of consulting and chatting, discussing all the students' profiles. So all of you that are listening to this right now, we've already spoken, and there have been times where we've looked at things like creativity, or we're going through and people are thinking about ideas or leadership, and talking about expressing views and opinions and engaging and influencing, get their message across. It's all formed from I guess what you're saying here is that you don't have to be the person that's the center of new ideas. You could be the person that validates it. You may be the person that actually helps reiterate it. You could be the person that really helps evolve it to whatever it is, right? So I guess it's really what you're saying here is students need to really understand what their proclivity is, or where their highest proclivity is, and then understand how to apply that into the process of creating
with others, with others around you. I mean, so just hate to sort of to break it to some students here. Those with very, very strong game changers, a skill to learn very quickly if you're a very strong game changer, for example, would be make sure you've got a good strategist or playmaker boss here. Someone with you, because particularly if you're going to go into a larger organization, it's communicating those ideas that are in your head can be very difficult in an organization. So definitely, again, looking for a role, someone with a strong strategist, playmaker really helps those game changers to sort of survive. And it is about complementary relationships, okay? And you'll also see guys through your profiles that, again, in your profile, it's very rare that you'll just be one of these things.
Yep.
Okay? So let's say you've got a strong game changer and a strong strategist scores. It's about the two together. So the ideas and making sense of them. If you've got a strong game changer implementer, it's how do I bring my ideas into practical reality? If I'm an implementer polisher, yeah, how do I, contribute to that process of creativity, innovation? And it could be something as simple as, do we want to make any of these ideas a reality? If we do, I'm your person. Yeah. And so this is what we're talking, very inclusive language and framework to help us understand our impact. Again, go back just to say, we'll teach you to be creative. No, that's not it. Openness to creativity, openness to other people's contribution to creativity, how you impact creativity. That's what we want to get out of this program, because that's what's going to stand people in good stead.
Yeah, and I guess just to encase that a little bit from what you're saying there, Nathan, it doesn't matter if you feel that you're not creative and you're not coming up with the ideas. It's to understand that, as exactly what Grace said and you have said, everyone can make a game-changing contribution. It's that contribution you make to the process, which is going to be the biggest part about this. So when we talk about creativity and innovation, it isn't a situation where we want you to be creative and innovative. We want you to be able to drive creativity and innovation through what you do best naturally. So it's that conversation that they should be having with their coaches as well, right? Understanding who am I and where do I kind of stand when it comes into the process of creativity and innovation. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would. And if you use your person who's a strong implementer example, yeah, it could be, don't know, but it could be that when they go for these, everyone go and be creative and think of new ideas, it could send a shudder. It could be the worst thing to say to this person. Yeah. Okay. Because there'll be a lot of people with lovely ideas and good strategies and things, and they might feel a bit stupid.
Okay, let's do something a little bit interactive, because I'm sure our participants are listening here. I've got a question for you guys, and I don't need you to answer it by using the chat. I just want you to raise your hands, okay? And I'll be able to kind of see what's going on in here. Just a quick raise of hands. Are you someone when you go through this whole process, you think to yourself, I'm not really good at coming up with ideas, or sometimes are you afraid to present your idea because you think you're going to be laughed at or mocked? Just put your hands up. No one can see who you are. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going 6. 6 has gone to 12. We're going. This is great. Okay, all right. It's still gonna keep going up. While it's still going up, Nathan, looking at the GC index, looking at proclivities, obviously this is someone that perhaps has confidence issues. How could they use the information in their proclivity in the GC index and the impact awareness to be able to help them overcome this challenge?
Yeah, sorry, Ketan. I'm a big polisher, and I've just realised that the slide is cutting off some of the wording, so I couldn't hear the question. I'm afraid that's the anxiety of a polisher. Sorry.
So obviously, the question that I raised with the raised hands was for those who often feel that they're not creative, or they're intimidated in sharing their ideas because they feel like they'll be mocked or ignored. How do you use the tools that we've presented to them to help people overcome that kind of fear or objection? Yeah,
I mean, so deep rooted into the GC is about self-awareness. Okay, and this is ultimately what we are. We're making people aware of how they want to make an impact, and without self-awareness, you can't have education. So you need to be self-aware. So if it it depends on, but if you are a big game changer, sort of say playmaker, and people are laughing at you because you're, or strategist, what a big game changer, they're laughing at you because he or she's a bit weird, or they come up with some weird stuff, and they come up with such irrelevant stuff, but we've got a strategy, and that's the sort of stuff that they're getting laughed at about. Then it's sort of thinking, well, actually, how am I communicating these ideas? Am I communicating to the right person? Do I actually have to think a bit more like a strategist in the way that I'm articulating the ideas in time? I'm going to go and read what strategist does and the tips for a good strategist. I don't want to be a strategist, But that's what I need right now, is to communicate my ideas. Or is there someone that can help me out if I've got a good playmaker strategist around me that's going to help me sort of formulate and back me up with these ideas. Again, if I'm an implementer, polisher, for example, and my ideas are just all a bit too pragmatic and not out there, well then just test them with other game changers before you articulate, or test them with different people before you put them out there. But don't feel stupid. I mean, the best way to kill an idea, as we all know, is to share it. All right, okay, that will kill an idea. No problem. Yeah, we get that. So it's just about using the people around you. You've got top tips, you've got top tools here. The coaches are there for you. And people have their own experience but it's just thinking, actually, I need to be more strategic here. I need to create a game changer here. Very difficult to come up with, to come up with creative ideas, but just share it with someone before you go into the meeting or whatever. I think what's interesting, when we start moving into thinking of careers and organisations, the GC index. So go back a bit steps. Sorry, Ketan. You'll see that this rolls up to organisational culture. Okay. Now, I hate to break it to this group. Whether you're going to work for yourself, for Google, or for the government, in your very first job, you're going to have to do stuff. Even if you set up your own business, as we know, you've got to do stuff. So you've got to implement. Okay. Now, for some people, if they're a strong implementer, that's fine. We can do that in the early stage of our career. The question is, how do we progress from just implementing? That's another career challenge. But if you are a game changer strategist or a playmaker, or indeed, you're going to need to find anchors to get stuff done and earn your spurs. Okay. So let's say you are a playmaker, really. That's what you are. You value collaboration, you value genuine collaboration, but actually you're just going to get work is a very individualistic, task-focused role. You need to find anchors, but an interview question might be, can you give me an example of how genuine collaboration is rewarded here? If you're a big playmaker. For example, we'll come on to this later on in the program over coming months. And if you get an answer that's something like, we have drinks on a Friday, get everyone together. That should be setting some alarm bells, with you if you're a playmaker. If it's sort of like, no, we have, we all get together as a team continuously, we all value each other's contribution, we work in multiple teams, and it's really every voice counts. That's the sort of answer you want as a playmaker, And the same is with all of these roles. So don't just think of this as your own skills. Start thinking about this in the sort of organisation that you want as well. And if you are a game changer and you are looking for a genuinely creative organisation, you ask that question: how is genuine creativity rewarded here? And if you get the answers, we have innovation days every third week on a Tuesday at 2:00. It's not really helpful. That's not the right answer. So this is the framework that helps you throughout that process.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point you bring there, and it's one of the things that we kind of encourage when you're doing your profiling for what kind of career you want to go into. One of the questions that you want to ask is to yourself is, what's important to you and what environment do you feel you thrive in? And it's based on those values that you really want to go out and hunt for your business. And I don't mean it in such a hard, crude way, but that kind of question that Nathan just raised is a brilliant question, because it dissects through the crud. It gets through and quite clearly shows you how important creativity and innovation is. I mean, you look at people like Google and what they do. They give their employees time off to go off and be creative. Microsoft have an initiative called the Garage, which allows anyone from any division of any seniority to go into this area where they can go and develop ideas and work together with other people. And I think it's important that, as a part of how you contribute towards the process of creativity and innovation, that number one, the organization you're going into has to value creativity and innovation. And if they don't, then, or if they don't demonstrate that enough, it's not that it's a problem, but it may question that whether are you going to be able to inwardly impact and contribute towards the process of creativity when that's going to be stifled. So it's a great question the way you've placed that, Nathan. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. So let's just to finalise and to recap really, if we just move on, and just so again, it's not about being creative and innovative. Okay, that's not what it's about. Okay, and that's what we need to get that message, because that's not helpful, to everybody. It's about how you positively impact the process of creativity and innovation. It's a small shift in words. It's a massive shift in your own self-development and the impact that you will make in an organisation, in teams, and in the world of work. Okay? So good luck. Okay, and then so that's where we are, and in the sense of, so this is what we were talking about with the programs. You're going to be focused on creative innovation. It's one of those. So these are some of the things we're looking at. Openness to new ideas and possibilities. Back to our implementer person. That's something. Ways you can support others to express their ideas. That was the question you brought up, Ketan. Express your own ideas. I've got loads of the ideas, loads of creative ideas, but no one's listening to me. Well, how do you actually, express that? Get them into reality. Get those skills that help ideas into reality. And then, and then also, if you're a sort of big strategist, for example, don't be uber critical because this idea doesn't fit into a model, or something that you've seen before, or way. That's what strategists do. They like to see things clear in models that they can understand. Constructively evaluate ideas and possibilities. These are some of the things. And then you'll see the other elements of the course. I mentioned that getting things done one. That's an important one. When you look out for that webinar, that's going to be an important coaching session, because that's what, when you leave, that's what people are going to want you for originally, is to get things done. So, we want to make sure we develop that. So that's where we are. So, Ketan, you can flick that through. It just brings us back to creative innovation, and any questions, then do let us know. You can find us at www.thegcindex.com or send it back to Grace. Okay, thank you.
Nathan, thank you very much for coming on and sharing all those kind of insights from there. Guys, if you have any questions for Grace, for Nathan, get them onto the chat for me. I'll be able to pick those up, and when we have the Q&A session at the end of this webinar, I'll bring those up. I'm sure Grace and Nathan would be happy to answer those. I wanted to give you guys a little bit more of a sort of a 360-degree view. I mean, it's not just about talking about how you're going to make an impact. It is very important, because this program is all about you. It's all about how we develop you. But I think it's very important, as Nathan picked up just now towards the end of this of his presentation, where he started to talk about organizational culture and the environment around us. And I think it's important to also understand, how is creativity and innovation disrupting the energy industry? Because believe you and me, you'll agree that all parts of this industry needs disrupting. Disruption is change. Change comes from transformation, and transformation comes from creativity. It's all interlinked together. So some of you may be familiar with the Sustainable Development Goals. The leaders of 193 countries created a plan back in 2015, and the whole promise was to actually get to an equitable, sustainable place, but for tomorrow's generations. And they put a target of 2030, 15 years to get from where we currently are as a world to where we want to be. Now, this is a bit of a busy slide, but it kind of gives you an idea of how the world of energy has been shaped, or the factors that are shaping our world. Everything from the energy drivers as the nucleus comes from things like international governance, environmental priorities, but then you've got so many other economic factors, consumption factors, investment factors, even the need of innovation into business, digitalization. And this is something that, the GC Index do a lot with, things like digital transformation as well. So it's kind of a situation whereby all of these these bubbles and these factors start to affect. So if you think of new technologies and productivities on the far right-hand side, efficiency, energy storage, EV, running into population and labor force stuff, technology development, where's the money coming from? How can we go globalize it? Right the way across to environmental priorities, international governances. These are the things, all of these things put together the ecosystem of how the energy world needs to change. So according to a report that was set out, these are the general key findings. The world's primary energy demand growth will slow down. Per capita energy demand will peak before 2030 due to unprecedented efficiencies created by new technologies and more stringent energy policies. Remember, creativity and innovation isn't just in technology or what you do, it's how you shape your policies as well. So some of you are out there that are aspiring to be able to impact policy. That can change the game within the energy industry itself. Demand for electricity will double by 2060. Meeting this demand with cleaner energy sources will require substantial infrastructure investments and system integrations. Remember that whole right-hand side of what we were just talking about, of that previous chart. The phenomenal rise of solar and wind energy will continue at unprecedented rates and create both new opportunities and challenges for energy systems. Guys, you guys are, even if you're taking masters in Mine and stuff like this, there is a future. There is a future coming forward. New energy, clean energy. We've been talking about ocean and tidal waves and hydropower, etc. There are so many different areas which are going to start to open up and start to rise. How do you play a part in that role? How do you impact the processes of these creative and innovative sections? The demand peaks for coal and oil have the potential to take the world from stranded assets to stranded resources. We already know the amount of change that needs to go from coal power to other areas. I've spoken to many of you students who are driven by nuclear fusion as well, and what that can bring. I mean, obviously, it's still I wouldn't say it's a fallacy, but it's still up there, underdeveloped. But these are the places where we need to make the greatest impact. Limiting global warming to no more than 2%, 2 degrees increase will require an exceptional effort, but anything is possible. We need to keep coming up with new ways, new ideas, and that's not just the role of a game changer. That's, as Nathan described, everyone else needs to play a part of the role. The game changer may come up with that radical idea, but they perhaps can't express it enough. So the strategist comes and makes sense of it. The implementers help validate it. The polishers start to drive improvement into it. And then that's what we will see. That's what you see, a continual cycle of all of these proclivities working together to really impact positively into creativity and innovation. So PwC did a survey on Canadian power and utility companies and showed that 89% of executives agree that technology, customer engagement, policy, and innovation are the drivers. 75% believe the innovation of grid generation or other core operational technology is relevant. Right the way through to customer innovation needs to be at 34%. Sometimes we keep coming back to the same arguments. We need to educate our consumers. We need to educate our consumers. But actually, right now, I think the shift is got to be more on how does a company innovate itself. So it's really important to understand that, the process of creativity and innovation isn't just in one aspect or one area. It's a whole series of different things. So, again, if you are someone who's more technical, less practical, someone who's more into research rather than project management, how do you use your skills to actually influence, impact, and positively make a difference when it comes to the process of creativity and innovation? Look at the ways in these different industries, pharmaceutical to energy, it gives you an idea of the capital required in energy is high compared to these. But look at everywhere else. Innovation intensity is high across all three of these industries. The actors responsible, primarily governments, utility companies, or on the energy side, but there are also large firms. So there are other industries that are suffering or also rewarding from themselves with extension and using innovation in their sectors. Is there a way of actually identifying what is it that these industries are doing that can help within energy? So it's coming up with not only just new ideas, but using that polisher to come in and actually say, well, we could use this and do something better. We could use this and do something better. So McKinsey really, when they put this down, didn't believe that there will be major disruptions in the use of energy use or generation. Their research showed that although global energy demand will grow, an average of about 0.7% through to the year of 2050. Only the future can see. How can we predict the future? Energy intensity in 2050 will be half of what was in 2013. The demand will make up 25% of all energy demand by 2050 in electricity. 77% of additional power will come from solar, wind, natural gas, hydro, nuclear sources. We had a great presentation at the Game Changing Impact Challenges in Vienna from a group that were looking at how hydrogen could play a part in as an alternative. The Middle East at the moment are just screaming for clean tech and alternatives to oil and gas at this moment. Coal, oil, and gas will make up 74% of primary energy. It's now 82%. So it means we can see that it's going to start to come down. The dependency of on these natural resources are going to become less and less. And by 2035, greenhouse emissions will flatten and then decline, owing to electric vehicles. I mean, the whole introduction of electrical vehicles, grids, battery joints, this is everything that started. But in order for us to continue to get to these types of statistics in these numbers, we have to continuously keep innovating. We can't just say, okay, electric cars have been introduced to the market, that's it, let's all go home. There's got to, what can we now do with the battery technology? What can we do with the way in which electric cars are used? How will that evolve as well? So creativity and innovation is not just about new ideas or transformational change, it's also about evolution as well. So if you are someone who's driven and your passion is along those lines to change the world, is great, but you don't have to fear that just because you don't have the right idea or you can't articulate it, that you can't contribute. As Nathan said, it's about understanding the environment around you. It's about building a team around you and working with people that will help bring the whole thing to fruition. So what we've got for you, some of you may have already read this before, but in 2017, the World Economic Forum put together a white paper on game changers in the energy industry. I think there are certain themes in here which would be worth you guys looking at, maybe of interest for some of you as you go into your thesis in the future, on the future of this program. But the point of this is that download we've made available. We'll be sending you the link to download it yourself if you want to read through it. Something that you could maybe pick up and sort of draw upon. It may even help you identify where you want to go in your career after you graduate from your master program itself. So I wanted to show that actually game-changing creativity and innovation are very they're big words and big drivers in today's energy sector. Yes, it's taken a little time to get there, but as anything, laws, regulations, policies, all these things start to make a difference. I mean, the introduction of SDGs in 2015 really started to help set this forward. But there's so much more that can be done out there. And I want to encourage you all to start thinking about how can you contribute to that process? Where do you fit into this whole process? Because believe me, no matter what your proclivity and your profile looks like, you within the GC index, no matter what your impact awareness assessment and your evaluations will tell you, you have a place and a part to play and a role to play in the future of the creativity and innovation of this energy industry. We just got to help you find where that is. So Before we finish up, I wanted to just talk to you a little bit about what's coming up next. This program, as you all know, has a combination of webinar and also comes up with one-to-one coaching as well. And we are trying to, what we've designed here is to be able to give you some insights, give you a little bit of an opportunity to really get into the zone of what it is that you need to be focusing on before you get into your coaching. So you can really make the most of the time that you have with your coaches itself. So in April, you'll be booking through with your coaches. But essentially, again, and I know you've seen this slide several times today, it's important that you do see this. In fact, I'll probably be putting it up on the student resource website, webpage itself, so you guys can keep a handle on things. But I want you to start really thinking about how you're going to sort of engage with this whole process of creativity and innovation. So whilst Nathan kind of talked about, you know, what we want you to achieve is, you know, the openness to new ideas and possibilities, the way in which you support expressing ideas, etc. I want you to understand your, all of these are kind of goals that we believe are important for you to understand and discover how and where you fit into, which will then enable you to actually understand how and where you make your greatest impacts when it comes to these processes. So look, you've got several tools. You've got the GC Index. You've got your impact awareness assessments. They're all in your Google Drive files. They're all accessible, readable. As I've said to you all previously before in your consultations, if there's anything that you don't quite understand the profile is saying of you, either come back to us or go back to your coach and have that conversation. But essentially, once you're mapping through your impact awareness assessment, it will give you an idea. You see, because you answered those questions around importance and capability, and it gives you a roadmap of where you believe your potential strengths are, and obviously where your potential areas of development come from. I can see some hands raised. I'll just come to that in a second. But essentially, let's just come back to this area here. So if you look and review your impact awareness assessment, you'll be able to see that there's a section on creativity and innovation that you can practice, you know. So this profile, this person feels that they have relevance, it's important to them, and they have the capability of practically supporting the process of creativity and innovation in organizations, or effectively complementing others in the process, or that they can effectively help others. Now, I want you to be able to take this back to your coach and define it. What does it actually mean to you? Because if you misinterpret what this is saying, you'll start to go down a false sense of understanding. So if you look at your potential strengths and then look at your areas of development, I understand the contribution that I can make. So this person here feels that they can support, but they don't feel that they can really contribute. And that's what that tells us, is this is a kind of person who perhaps struggles with confidence about their own ideas. So ironically, the question I asked earlier and I got you guys to raise your hands on is based on the similar profile of this kind of person here. People that feel that they can contribute, but they don't know how they can contribute by support, but they can't contribute to the idea section. So I want you to use your impact awareness assessment results to also drive your conversation with your coaches as well. It's really, really important that you do.
And Ketty, I'd say that. Yes. So absolutely, it's about driving a conversation. Okay, mm-hmm. This is to help. So this is not a test. There's no pass or fail.
No.
There's a reason why we ask people to measure on importance and capability. It won't come as a surprise that some people put everything as important. Yeah. Okay. For example. So if that happens to be the case, that will be the first question. Is everything really that important? It will help you with prioritizing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And you can start this process in two ways. If you go back to the strengths bit,
yeah,
you can either say, actually, is this really a strength? So when we're looking at creativity and innovation, I can practically support the process of creativity and innovation in organizations. Give me some examples. How do you do that? You might go, oh, yeah, actually, I don't actually, you're right. And that's fine. That's the point of the conversation. Okay. So, and you can either start by developing strengths. Yeah. You can actually start with this area, or you can go back to the points to develop with your coach and go, no, actually, I'm pretty comfortable with these areas of strengths. That's fine. I really want to focus on the area to develop, which is around communication. This is your document. This is to help you frame, how you make an impact and develop in these areas. Okay, not a pass or fail test.
Absolutely. Really, really important stuff that you've just raised there as well. And guys, take it from the label on the tin. It's an impact awareness where it's helping you become aware. And I love Nathan's absolutely right. It's not about questioning whether it's right or wrong. It's actually being able to say, okay, well, if this is how I've assessed myself, can I produce an example? Can I validate? Because sometimes there could be 3 or 4 elements within the context of practically supporting the process of creativity and innovation in organizations. You may have 3 but missing 1, and it's working with the coach to be able to understand where is that one, what is that one, and effectively how and where you go off and make those impacts in your chosen careers, sectors, or industries that you go into. Don't forget, alongside with this, we've also got the Impact Passport. Now, you won't have the passport in your Google Drive files at this moment in time, but what you are actually building towards as you go through the coaching journey, and when we get to the end in March 2020, and then kind of when you and I as participants and the team will be working through our consultation, is we need to start to really round out where it is. Where's your impact statement when it comes to creativity and innovation? So I want you to, even as you are going through this process with the coaches, it's not instantaneous. You're not going to have this result straight away, but as you go through the journey over the next 12 months, you really want to start picking up on where is it that you strongly feel, because what you feel today and what you feel in 6 months time and what you feel in 12 months time are going to be different things. And that shows that you've evolved or transitioned and progressed in a particular way. So just bear in mind that there is going to be an Impact Passport document that's going to be pre-filled and completed and finalized before you finish this program. So you've got to start thinking about your kind of statements towards that as well. So leads me on to a few other things. I know Nathan won't announce this because he's a very proud but humble man, but there is an amazing book that the GC Index have released. It's called Coaching Me, Coaching You. Really good, solid book about case studies on how the GC Index is used in particular environments, scenarios, more importantly, understanding those proclivities and understanding where the model and making of impact comes from. It is available from Amazon. If you are interested, you can just go through and put this into the title, into the search, and you'll probably be able to find it from there. We'll get some information onto the Student Resource Centre later on this year for this as well. So look, we've covered a lot of different things in a lot of different ways today. We've talked about going right the way back to what Grace was saying at the beginning of the webinar itself. The Inner Energy Career Centre is there to support you. They are the believers that you are the future of the energy industry, which is why they're providing programs such as this to you as an element. We want you to make sure that you're getting the most out of what they have here. Go out and talk. There are alumni within the community as well that you can engage and connect with, right the way through to what Nathan was talking about, which is getting really down and deep with your profile, your own proclivities, understanding where that comes from, having that continual conversation as you go along. And then right the way through to some of the industry trends that I was showing you. I mean, that was just a real scratch on the surface to where things are. But that just goes to show you that the industry is changing. The sectors are moving on. You need to understand that you can't stand still. You have to move with it. Otherwise, you get left behind. But it doesn't mean that you have to be creative in your title or innovative in your title. As Nathan explained, whether you're a high implementer or a high polisher or a high strategist, you still have a role to play. You have a real role to play. So what I want to wrap up now is with a Q&A. If you've got any questions that you would like to ask, now's the time. I know that I've got some that have come through. Okay. First question I have is, if you're a playmaker, what kind of position would be best for an internship or a first job? Since when you don't have previous employment or professional experience in, the employers won't really trust you for a position, I guess, which is of seniority where you can develop. Sorry, let me get the full question. Let me start again. If you're a playmaker, what kind of position would be the best for an internship or a first job? Since when you don't have previous professional experience, the employers won't trust you for a position where you can develop these coordination skills. Nathan, do you have any kind of insights on this?
It's a brilliant question, because you're absolutely right. If we could just go back to the model, Ketan, just slightly,
Yes.
if that's possible.
Absolutely. Let's go back.
Because you're absolutely right. It is the playmaker is very hard. That'll do. That night one's fine. Sorry. And you're right. So if we look at traditional ways in which people will enter an organization, typically the career process goes as thus. You come in and you do. You implement. You earn your spurs. You build a reputation for getting stuff done. Okay. And then maybe we will see that you're bright, you're verbally agile, you can understand complex thoughts and analysis. Strategy will send you onto a future leaders or management course, build that strategist bit. Yeah? And then that's not the only career path. You could go the implement and polisher way as well. But the point being is that that's how organizations see you earning your spurs, how you get on things around here. That's how you get on. And then only then can you build your authority or reputation to be given enough to go and play make and genuinely play make. So you're absolutely right. So I think what I would do is definitely start, if you are a big playmaker, you're going to want to lead with collaboration, shared endeavor, quite understated, that in the sense of, that genuine belief system. It would be in the questions that I would ask of your internship. Yeah. And I would ask questions like, how is genuine collaboration generally rewarded here? Is there an opportunity of, someone in my position getting, doing something around coordination and getting some people together with shared endeavor? Asking those questions, and you've got to listen to the response. The response is, no, absolutely not. We want you to do this, this, and this until you go, you're going to be drained. And then you've got a decision to make. Yeah, either I'm going to do it because I want the experience, I'm just going to suck it up, yeah, and I'll see where I can, or I'm going to go, no, that's not for me, I don't want to be drained.
Yeah.
So it's a great question, and you're absolutely right, but it's certainly I think it's more at that point understanding the culture of the organisation. Can you survive in there for an internship and get experience, and just candidly, or is there opportunity for you to leverage that? And that could be something quite small. It could be organising something, driving something, team leading a particular project, whatever it might be. They may give the opportunity to.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you've answered the next question that was there, which says, or how can a playmaker make an impact at the beginning of his or her career? Playmakers don't necessarily need to be managers or leaders. Remember that. They're about coordination, facilitation. I think getting yourself engaged and involved during your internship is going to be important. I think, even if you are asking these kind of questions at the beginning and perhaps there isn't a sense of something going through, at the end of the day, there are many ways to support processes and to show your inner playmaker or practice your inner playmaker. Could be by getting engaged into existing projects or help, being able to put yourself forward and say, what can I do to support this? So being, playmaker isn't primarily about leading or getting it all together, but it can be very much about being facilitative, supportive.
Yeah. I just had another thought, Ketan.
Yeah.
Happens. Actually, if you get your playmaking skills right, in the terms of influencing, stakeholder management, getting around and understanding the needs of others, you could find yourself penetrating an organisation much better
Yeah.
For future roles, future networking, futures for, it's an internship, but make the most of it. Just practice your playmaking skills that you're developing. Again, it's engaging and influencing, it's conflict handling, it's taking people with you, influencing up and down. These are all skills that you can learn as well, which will stand you in good stead, A, for future networks that you will build there, and B, just good skills development for your full-time role after your internship. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, one more question to come that's come through. There we go. We got a thank you for the answers first. So thank you, Nathan.
Okay. As a good playmaker would. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, this one's going to be interesting because it's about game changers.
Okay.
He's got a question. If you look for an internship while being a game changer, how to evaluate whether people you will probably work with will understand your natural proclivity and not see them as a drawback in your day-to-day activities and projects?
Yeah, good question. Well, certainly before you go to your internship, you would have learned some of the skills that game changers need. Okay. Now, this may or may not be you. I'm talking, quite a strong proclivity with games, and we can be socially awkward. We can be a little bit corporately clumsy. We don't value arbitrary rules. We don't value things just because they're there, and that can create some tension with quite traditional expectations of internships. So and organisations. So you certainly want to learn the skills to manage some of those deficiencies of game changers through your coaching. Just work on those. I think. Then it's the same question, similar sort of question. It's trying to get an understanding of the culture or the boss or the person that's taking you on. And again, how is genuine creativity valued here? Is there an opportunity for me to express? I know I need to be pragmatic. I know I need to get stuff done. I understand I'm an intern. All right, okay, I've got to do some basic stuff. But what are the opportunities for just changing things, look at things a little bit differently? Is there anything around there that I could just get my teeth into to help? And that's often the bargain when we've, it's sort of like, if we've had interns that are big game changers, and we've got them, we'll say, look, you've got to do this stuff. The client wants it. All right, okay. But 30, 40% of your time or 20% of your time or this week, just go for your life. All right, do what you like. In a very managed environment. Not a safe environment. Game changers want to feel safe to express themselves.
Absolutely.
That's ultimately what they need. And again, a good strategist, good playmaker can help that.
Fantastic. So look, here within itself, I think an overall look in front of this is that anyone can make an impact anywhere. You don't necessarily have to be something specific to be able to do that. So just because the words creative and innovation or creativity and innovation come in, you can all add to the process of it. Each one of you are individual with your profile. Each one of you represent individual contribution and impact. All of you, I cannot stress this enough, every single one of you on this webinar, and if you're watching this afterwards recorded, have a role to play. And it's our responsibility as individuals to start understanding that more and more. So rather than kind of looking at how do I do this, I want you to start asking the questions. What is it that I am? What is it that I believe in? And where is it that I make that impact? If you take the how out of the front of any of your questions, you're going to be more strategic, less tactical, because the answers aren't always obvious. There are so many people that have wonderful ideas, but or game-changing ideas, but they resist sharing because they don't believe that they're creative enough. Yet, that kind of game-changing thought process can still come back later on when you're prototyping, validating. So you could be a high implementer, bringing that kind of ideas in. There are so many different ways that you can bring in into one. As we talked about the industry, the indicators are showing that innovation and creativity is needed. Where do you play your part? Is it in policy shaping? Is it in the decrease of coal or the natural gas usage? Is it more about introducing more electrification? These things all play a part of the role. But we're out of time. I really appreciate all of you coming on, listening. I know there are a couple of conversations that are going on behind, but that's okay. That's what happens. It's good. I hope it was been fruitful. I want to thank Grace, who had to leave a little bit earlier off the call, for coming on from the Career Centre and sharing. Remember, guys, make sure if there's anything that you need, the email address for the Career Centre is in your student handbook as well. Don't forget that your coaching starts in April, and your first sessions with your coaches is going to be on this exact same topic. So the whole purpose of being on this webinar is to be able to sort of draw, drive, and direct where that coaching is going to be going on from there. But Nathan, I want to thank you for coming on and giving us all those pearls of wisdom. And
thank you very much. And guys, you got fantastic opportunity being an Inno Energy student. They're putting on a fantastic program for you. It's a fantastic community. Yeah, good luck with everything. And you can all be reached on LinkedIn or Twitter or the GCIP website if you need anything as well. But best of luck. Yeah, absolutely. So last thing from me then, if there are any other questions, perhaps you've watched this on playback or you wanted to ask and didn't ask, email them through to us at innostudents@enterpriselab.co.uk, and we'll get them back out to the team, or we'll be able to give you some sort of direction and answers. If there's anything else that you're unsure about, innostudents@enterpriselab.co.uk. Other than that, thank you for your attention and participation today. Have a great evening, and we'll catch up with you guys real soon.